That's a hard one. Lies of P. How do we find fun? Like, what's fun? Brutally difficult, getting bashed in the face over and over again by a series of unpredictable thrusts from a greatsword. Is that right? I forget sometimes. I mean, sure, yeah, Lies of P is fun, but how fun? Okay, just to be straight up, I'm a Souls guy. From Software is my favorite studio, by far, my favorite developer. Of those games, I have to say, like, I'm right, like, Elden Ring and Sekiro are my favorite. Love Sekiro. So I'm the last person who's gonna say that a game is not fun just because it's difficult. Lies of P is really hard. But just to be clear here, right off the bat, I love the game. Really, from the moment I started playing it, I fell in love with it. So for my money, this is a really fun game. I can't say I'll ever play it again, but I love it. And it's fun. I mean, it doesn't reinvent everything. If you had told me that From Software made this game, I probably wouldn't believe you because the narrative is a bit too polished, but the bones are there, and a lot more than the bones. If From Software made another Bloodborne game, it'd probably look and feel a lot like this, except you couldn't figure out the story nearly as easily as you could figure out the Lies of P story. And good luck ever getting them to make a Pinocchio video game. But you know what it is? You know what makes it the most fun? And this is it right here. It is so satisfying to play. You know that feeling in Dark Souls 1 where you parry and riposte, or when you do a critical hit or whatever the heck they're called in Bloodborne, and you're standing behind a dude that doesn't see you, and you get that thing? That is how I felt during most of Lies of P. It just felt so satisfying all the time. And of course, it's got plenty of those sound effects to go around. And this goes for every part of the gameplay. Dodging, weapon upgrading, leveling up. I mean, everything feels almost too Souls-like. It's almost too perfect. I'd venture to say that if you're into Souls-like games, you will probably love this game. If you are not into those games, you're one of those people who has said, I'm never gonna play Dark Souls 1, and I'm never even gonna play Elden Ring. You will hate this. You're not gonna get very far. You're probably gonna rage quit, and rage quitting's not fun. But that feeling of the perfect parry with the clang and the sparks, and that feeling when you dodge right before you're about to get bashed in the face. Oh, that's so good. The bosses are legit, but they're fair. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I'm like a Souls games god, because I'm not at all. It takes me forever to beat these games. Forever! And it took me a really long time to beat this one as well. And I use Spectres the whole time. There's no shame in Spectres, my friend. I'd say my biggest criticism of the combat when I found it the least fun is when I was up there screaming bullshit at the screen over and over again from some dude that was just acting so erratically. Sometimes the telegraphing is, well, it's not there, and that's not super fun. It kind of relies on randomness. You sit back saying to yourself, I will probably beat this eventually when I get lucky, so we'll just keep trying. And the difficulty leads to the catharsis that ultimately leads to the emotions that make us say, hey, that was fun. I enjoyed doing that. That was a great experience. But honestly, for the most part, the combat was perfectly on point. I mean, dodging, parrying, the weight of the weapons, how they feel in your hand was cool. I love the system of upgrading the handles on weapons. It was like the one thing that was different in this than other Souls-like games is you had the handle and the sword or the blade, and you can detach them from each other and hook them all onto each other from whatever you find and make your own unique weapons that have their own unique properties, and more importantly, Fable Arts, which are like these special hits that you can do when you charge them up, which I totally underutilized, by the way. I also totally underutilized the Legion Arm. Sometimes I would remember it was there, and I was like, yeah, I beat him with the Legion Arm. And most of the time I was like, oh man, I just went through that whole hard boss, and I totally forgot I didn't use my Legion Arm at all. What was I doing? Just like leave money on the table here. Now, I'm not one for like scary video games, although I'm playing through Alan Wake 2 right now. Get subscribed if you want to know if that game is fun. I'm working on that. That is a scary game. I would not call this a scary game. I would call it creepy. It feels like Bloodborne. No, it feels like Halloween. It's like a Halloween video game. Yeah, because I'm a wuss. If it was actually scary, I don't know if I would have finished it. The whole idea of using Pinocchio was really great. It was really inspired because it set up this whole thing. And I don't know if this is part of like old Pinocchio lore that I'm just not aware of, but this whole idea of, you know, Pinocchio trying to become a real boy, lying or not lying, and you're making that decision and becoming a little bit more human, your appearance changing over time. But that's not the whole thing. Really, that whole story of you becoming human is expanded out in a destructive, terrible way to the rest of this city that everything takes place in, the city of crap, which is pretty interesting. So you end up fighting all of these demented puppets all the time. Then you end up fighting all of these disgusting monster things with green blood. It kept saying blue blood everywhere. Looked pretty green to me. There's lots of different enemy types. I mean, even up until the very final stretch of the game, we had not seen all the enemies. I remember I was walking up the hallways of where the last boss is gonna be. You're making your way through there, and there were brand new enemy types popping up, and I was like, whoa, okay, I guess I gotta learn this. And it was that late in the game. In fact, I have to say, I was continually surprised at really how long the game is. I know it's not a super long game, but it takes me forever to play Souls games. Die, 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 die. Got it! Die, 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 die. That's pretty much it. But the game just kind of kept going and going and going. When I thought it was going to be wrapping up, it wasn't wrapping up. It just kept going, and it was really fun. I'd get frustrated. I'd get stuck on a boss for a couple days or something. I usually don't play one game at a time. You know, I switch between a few different games. So I would go away from it, come back a day or two later, and I'd finally beat this boss, and then I'd be like, oh, finally. And then I would start getting back into the awesome level design, very Dark Souls-y, because all the areas connect to each other, and there's shortcuts to unlock to get you back to the bonfires, which are called stargazers in this game. The exploration was fantastic, always something cool around the corner, or sitting out on a little piece of wood all the way down. Oh my gosh. Why do these games insist on making me walk the plank to pick up items? I am not a pirate. Lies of P is the best Souls game not made by From Software. I feel really confident saying that. Blows everything else out of the water. Have you played it? What did you think about it? Did you think it was hard? Did you rage quit? Did you think it was easy and I'm full of crap? I very well may be. I'm full of crap most of the time. Let's talk about it in the comments. Drop it below. And I hear they're putting the like button underneath videos now. Just like a thing, right? So, you know, just if you feel moved, right? Oh, and you can subscribe. That's a thing. That's a thing that they do on YouTube. So if you don't, I gotta go pick up my kids from the bus. See ya.